Hey, Extension friends, Nate Birt here, NTAE Key Informant. Excited to spend a few minutes with you today talking about the importance of defining your non-negotiables. Now, for me, I have to balance in my life the fact that I lead a company that's helping nonprofits and academic leaders, extension professionals, etc., make positive change on big issues like climate and others, and the fact that I am also a dad, I'm a husband, I have 4 kids. We have busy schedules. Like we've got summer plans. I'm recording this in July 2025. So if you're watching this later, that's why I'm talking about summer. But you always have to find ways to draw clear boundaries, or else they will invariably get run over by yourself or by others. And that's really what I'm talking about at the end of the day when it comes to non-negotiables, right? What are things, pardon me, that I'm committed to doing no matter what? Or things that I'm never going to do no matter what, right? And having the reason for yourself, even if you never share that with another person. It's important to have those lines drawn, I think, to have boundaries, to be able to be effective as an extension professional, in your personal life, etc. So let's talk about non-negotiables. And I chose this image of someone holding up their hand to this red line, right? We often talk about non-negotiables as like, okay, if you cross the red line, then X, Y, and Z consequence will happen, right? So in a similar way, you're really drawing red lines for yourself. Like, which lines are you not going to cross morally, ethically, as an extension professional in your personal life? And which are the lines that if someone else crosses them, like you're going to have a conversation or something's going to have to change. So I think you need to define those in at least 2 categories, right? Personal and professional, and certainly those intersect. So and oftentimes the lines that we draw, those things get blurred. And so we have to decide, like, is this worth fighting for, so to speak? Is it something that I really have to sit down with my administrator or leadership or spouse or partner and have a conversation with? So really take some time and maybe journal on this question of what are your red lines? What are your non-negotiables? Again, this doesn't have to be a bad thing, but in order to keep you a whole person, in order to protect your schedule so you have time to invest in those activities, programs, people that you care most about, you're not going to be able to say yes to everything. And honestly, the more that I read and study this question, the more that I understand you have to say no almost always to say yes to the handful of things that really matter the most. And then I think take a step further, like once you've defined what those lines are, the next question to ask yourself is, how do you know you've reached a red line, right? How do you feel it in your body? What are the thoughts that are racing through your mind? I think we talked about this on a video not too long ago. How does your schedule change? How do people start observing you as far as how you show up that maybe is different or less positive than you would be when you're feeling healthy, you're feeling like alert and ready to go. Typically when red lines are crossed in our lives or someone's sort of violated our non-negotiables, we're not in our best mindset, right? We're frustrated, we're angry, we're confused, we're hurt. And so I think it's helpful to understand when you start to approach that red line, hey, be aware of that so I can start to change my decisions. I can start saying no more. I can have a hard conversation, whatever the case might be. And then think about, you're not just drawing lines arbitrarily, nor do you have to justify those boundaries for other people, right? But what I think you need to tell yourself or sort of identify for your own benefit is like, what are the good things that are going to happen by maintaining these boundaries, right? I'm going to have time with my family. Is it I'm going to be able to focus on these 3 extension programs that really matter most to me right now? Is it I'm going to be able to meet this deadline so I can go on that vacation I've been promising myself for the last 3 years? Like whatever the case might be, identify the benefits and then also think about the downside risk you're avoiding, right? By drawing these boundaries, I'm not going to have people encroaching on my time always. I'm not going to be saying yes to things that really don't light me up. I'm going to be avoiding the risk that I'll never see my family and friends again, right? So non-negotiables can be very positive, both in terms of the upside potential, the benefits you can enjoy, but also the risks you're avoiding. And then finally, think about how your clients, within extension specifically, how are your clients going to be supportive, right? If you're not at your best mentally, physically, emotionally, then you're not going to be able to serve them well when it comes to really often baggage-laden climate issues, right? Whether that's risk of severe weather, whether that's talking about community resilience and mapping what that strategy looks like for a local area. whether that comes to engaging and educating policymakers on key climate issues, like you're not going to be able to do those kinds of things and others if you are failing to draw some pretty clear non-negotiables for yourself. So as an exercise, I want you to be thinking about what are your non-negotiables, and then if you feel comfortable sharing with me, you can email me at natebirt@extension.org. What's one non-negotiable you'll never budge on, and why? Again, you don't have to justify it. If you don't feel comfortable sharing, don't, right? But if you do, I would love to know for you. I've sort of shared some examples for myself. For me, non-negotiables are I'm going to try to wrap up the workday between 4 and 5 o'clock so I can go have dinner with my family every night. But you may have different ones, right? And that's totally fine. What I'm doing is trying to encourage you to take that step and start defining for yourself those non-negotiables. And if you've allowed those to slide, start putting those boundaries back in place, holding them, and being confident that you're doing that for a very good reason. All right, until next time, I'm Nate Birt. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.